Hello and welcome. You're tuned to The Leg Up, your weekly thoroughbred preview podcast, and we're deep into New Zealand Cup week, and what a week it's been. Good afternoon, Stephen Hunt to you. Exciting times, I guess, and it's been exciting already.
It has, just on the back of what we saw at Flemington in the last, 2 weeks. But, yeah, I love Cup week. Fascinating when you get in the Southerners, the best of the Southerners, clashing with the best of the Northerners. Obviously, kicking off on last Saturday with the 2,000 guineas, Nevere doing the job there in impressive fashion. Yeah, there was a couple of sticky moments around about the 400 metre mark, but just showed you how much ability / class he had in front of his rivals to do the job. But I think the big talking point for me, outside Te Akau, obviously, is the return of Opie Bosson. We know he has his problems and his dramas around winter with his weight and fitness levels, etc. That's happened in the last half a dozen years. But the complications around him being stuck in Auckland, not being able to ride, which we know the more you ride, the better your fitness. The lack of race day fitness, Opie, when he came back to riding, which was around about 2 weeks ago. I hear a whisper about 6-8 weeks ago he was on the brink of retirement. But so that just shows you the comeback he's made between now and 8 weeks ago, the fitness levels he's been able to gain, the hard work he's been doing under the scene or behind the scenes of Te Akau, etc. But just crunching a few numbers, he's had 24 rides for 4 wins since returning at 17%. His first 13 rides returning, 0 wins, which naturally you'd say, okay, that's okay. You're just building it up slowly, not getting the plum rides and your fitness levels, etc. His last 11 rides has produced 4 winners at 36%, but importantly is exceeding betting or market expectation, which sits at 23%. And that's including a Group 1 last Saturday, a Group 2 and a Group 3 in the back of 7 days. So he's well and truly back, and now customers are gravitating towards him.
I was going to say, it's not easy for him to beat betting expectation because he wears the tangerine and he's Opie Bosson.
Yeah, so I think punters were just a little bit shy of really getting stuck into him, which we see in the heat of the summer. And the obstacles he's had to face and overcome heading into his return. But now he's got his eye in. I'd say well and truly on Saturday, the money will be flowing towards his mounts.
Exciting times. Good afternoon, Brendan Popper. Well, let's bring you in. And look, it's been a bit Te Akau, it's been a bit tangerine in the big races, but there's been some nice moments for the Southerners interspersed in between.
Look, there has been, and look, it really has been a great couple of days out of Riccarton, hasn't it, with what we've seen, and just with the Tangerine Army. I think we saw it a couple of weeks ago that the tide was turning for the team. They just had been behind the 8 ball. Imperatriz was quite an important victory, I do believe, on Soliloquy Stakes Day, on a day where they're able to really bag the winners. That was the line in the sand for them. Of course, we saw Nevere winning the War Decree. It was just that key moment for the stable where they kicked into overdrive, and that's what we've seen at Cup Week so far. And on top of that, Opie Bosson back doing what he does best and winning Group 1 races, as we saw with Nevere. Been a great week, and no doubt the next few days there's a fair few winners to try and find on all 3 codes.
Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah, exactly. We've got the Greyhound Cup tonight, Thursday night, as we tape, and then obviously we're into show day there at Addington tomorrow, and 2,000 Guineas Day on Saturdays, which we will head pretty shortly. But before we do, we want to say good afternoon to Paul Moati, man barely standing. G'day, Paul. Gee, thanks for joining us, mate. Thanks for taking the time out. We really appreciate. We know how precious your time is. Where are you joining us from? Christchurch, Auckland, Hamilton.
I don't know where you're going with this, Dad. I'm in high tide eye. I did have the pleasure of being down at Riccarton for yesterday for Wednesday for Copeland's Mile Day. Had the pleasure of catching up with Corey Campbell and Chelsea Burdan. Had a couple of quiet ones with them, and I had to go. Late nights are a thing of the past for mine, so I was out of there quick, smart. But
look at that nose grow.
It was a very well run day, considering the restrictions that we currently live under.
Yep.
But I just had a look at the late quaddie there. Paid 2,700. Te Akau won 3 of the legs. So it wasn't that hard to find, to be fair.
No.
Summer Monsoon, Marcus Aurelius, and Zoluminous. And then you just had to go a wee bit wide in the other leg. But that paid pretty well. But yeah, the Tangerine Army certainly having a a very nice carnival down there so far.
Yeah, just starting to hit their straps, as Pops quite rightly says, and they'll be looking to hit their straps on Saturday as well. And we want to go to race number 8, obviously on the card, and that's the 1,000 guineas. Steve, how is this market framed?
Yeah, nice race, headed by Paratrooper for Danielle Johnson, Jamie Richards, 380 into 350, so nice firm around the current fave. The second line, There You Go, $4 flat. The Perfect Pink, and at this stage right now, Thaddeus, it matches dollar for dollar with Imperatriz. So a nice little firm around the third fave. Number 7, the Perfect Pink, 6 into 550. A Bella Conte, fourth line, 6.5. Double figures around Mustang Valley, $10. Ballon Rouge, 13. And We Danced. This is a terrible result in futures betting.
Even want to talk about And We Danced, yeah.
Look, it's second up over 1,600 metres against the best fillies in the country. So intrigued to see how this runner goes, but there's a decent rap on this individual. $21, currently losing in final field also. Glory Bound, 18 out to 21. Shepherd's Delight, best of the rest at 26. So your two firmers, Imperatriz and the Perfect Pink.
Yeah, look, interesting market. Pops has been bouncing around a bit. Look, There You Go, favourite for a long time. We obviously lost Art to Triumph, which is a shame. And then now Imperatriz sort of booked its ticket after that last start one, and now is our $3.50 favourite. But yeah, looking down the page, there's a few options here, a few chances.
This really does set up to be one of the races of the week, doesn't it? I mean, the 2,000 guineas so often has been that one race that you can really label, and I think it will be. I think there's no doubting the winner could be anything, the way that Navia's won that 2,000 guineas last week. But this, in terms of overall quality and how even this race is, this could be one of the better 1,000 guineas we've seen. With Imperatriz, first of all, with how she won that race in the Soliloquy Stakes, missing the start of Matamata, getting back and then still winning the race. There's still those obvious concerns of going to 1,600 metres. She's drawn awkwardly, you know, they obvious red flags for her. Bella Conte comes through those form lines through the Gold Trail Stakes through the early part of the spring, which is always a reference that's used towards the 1,000 guineas. There You Go, a horse who won the Barneswood Farm and also beat the boys last time out in that race, is the one I'm still gravitating towards. And the Perfect Pink. The Perfect Pink is gaining momentum in terms of just how they've targeted this race with her. Sticky gate, Opie's aboard, but a really nice run in the Soliloquy Stakes when finishing into 4th position from her. And look, an obvious mover in her market too, guys, isn't it? With what she's done in that Soliloquy Stakes, to see her at around that $6 mark.
It's interesting, that money for Perfect Pink, Steve, because I mean it's been there all along, hasn't it? And Imperatriz has sort of been right at the sharp end of this market, but they've just continually backed the Perfect Pink, and it probably put the writing on the wall last start, running 4th in a way.
Yeah, that was the key. That was the line in the sand, whether it was going to head down to the 1,000 guineas on the back of running 4th in the Soliloquy. It ran the fastest last 600 in that particular race. Pedigree suggests no dramas at the mile. The Solitaire, the Dam, won up to 2,400 metres. So the mile and big roomy track.
Dennis Brothers family. Is it
bang on, yep, 100%. Yep. There's a lot going for it. Opie Boston jumps on. So the Perfect Pink, I think it was around about $14 just after the Soliloquy, and between then and now, it's just kept tumbling in, and it now finds itself in that third line at 550 in final field.
Yeah, okay, Paul. What are you thinking? We've obviously Imperatriz's favourite, but I know you've been a There You Go fan, and what do you make of the Southern Taranaki money around And We Danced? Can you make a case there?
Oh, she's certainly in me top 4.
Of course she is.
I've got to say, there was a wee bit of a whisper going around the track yesterday for the Perfect Pink. So that my ears spooked up when I started hearing those whispers. So yeah, someone's very, very confident around that. And as you say, we were just discussing Opie Boston and the fact that he's returned now and he's back to his close to his top form. So that really, really does make me think the Perfect Pink I'm happy to have on top. But And We Dance, yeah, very interesting with Bill Thurlow. And We Dance. It showed a lot of potential, especially. I thought the second Fresh Up was a lovely run. So I'm quite happy with the 21s on offer at the moment. But yeah, as I said, there was a whisper on track yesterday for the Perfect Pink.
You can keep your ear to the ground. You're not bad at that sort of thing. The bully doesn't sort of miss you, does it? Doesn't tend to miss you, does it?
Well, I like to get about. Ask the question.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, exactly. Yeah, look, and we dance, Steve. What do you make of this? Because I mean, it would be one heck of an effort, but they've been backing it for quite some time, so they've obviously got a wrap. And look, the win and the debut win was very good.
Yeah, an astute stable. Just got to take it on trust. It's yet to produce the figures. Hasn't had the opportunities, only having 2 runs to date, and was a beaten favourite last start. But maybe this race just come up a touch too soon. I would have liked to see at least one more run in the Central Districts before coming down to Riccarton. I know it's had a few barriers in terms of getting enough runs to go down to Christchurch, but they're throwing the opportunity for this filly to really hit a Group 1 level, because at the end of the day, there's only one Group 1 when it comes to fillies. The rest of the Group 1s, you've got to take on the boys if you want to run over 1,600 metres. So, look, $21. I'll have to take a set against it purely on figures, but there's plenty of upside for the horse. I wouldn't be surprised if it ran a race. But Imperatriz, look, the obvious talk is around the mile, and that's well spoken about leading into the race. But just on the soliloquy rating, 2.2 lengths below par. But I don't think that's a negative, because in context, in general, the 3-year-olds this year, in particular the fillies, haven't run strong figures. So that's round about the mark you need to beat this field, 2.2 below par at a group level race. Danielle, 6 wins from her last 25 rides at 24%. From that draw, look, she was always going to get back to try and run that 1,600 metres, so she'll be back in the last third. There's no dramas there, wide gate, but she has that strong SP just to have her around that $3.50 mark. So I think she does start fave. Money is indicating she will be fave in front of There You Go. Just with There You Go, produced a big number when winning its maiden down in Christchurch. Then when winning the Barneswood, it just regressed slightly in the overall figure. And you look at the third horse, I Wish I Win, ran poorly in the 2,000 guineas. So I'm not too sure about the Barneswood as a form reference, but if you go back on what it produced purely as a maiden figure, it's right up to this race. My question to BP, you've got Imperatriz, There You Go, both drawn wide gates. Which one's disadvantaged? Because I believe Cozzy will look to push forward from a wide gate. Is that a disadvantage rather than Imperatriz having to give plenty of strengths plenty of lengths coming into the home turn?
Yeah, I think There You Go will be a horse that will be positive from the barriers, and I have no doubt that they will want to put this horse right in the race. That's how she's been ridden in her 2 previous starts. They have been ultra positive in a race where she was against obviously inferior horses when she won her maiden race, but she did it in such good fashion that she was the best horse in that race, and they put her in the race. I wouldn't be surprised if they look to try and ride her a similar way and really get her out of their barriers and get her into that forward position. Imperatriz, well, she is going to be conceding lengths, isn't she? I mean, she's just a horse that you'd imagine is going to have to be neutral from the gate and hope that the big wide expanses of Riccarton Park can sort of get the right track into the race and roll into it at the right time. They are those little queries and question marks into the race. I mean, most horses in this race have got their queries, don't they? I mean, as strong and as even as this field is and how good it is, you know, every horse does have its little question mark next to it. So I think that's what makes it such a great betting contest.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, Mustang Valley BP, I mean, that's been one that I'm just starting to hear a little bit of word for. That run wasn't too bad in the soliloquy, and out at $10, Mustang Valley has his supporters as well. We haven't even mentioned her.
No, I think she's a horse that'll love the mile. She'll love the big roomy track at Riccarton. She's a horse that'll be looking to, again, get the track into the right race, following the right horse as they start to wind into the big swooping bend at Riccarton. Look, I'll throw one out here at a massive price, and it's the horse that I made my spring horse to follow. And I do believe that she's right in this race on Saturday, and it's the horse right at the bottom of the book, and number 16 in Glory Bound. Now, if Paul Mawadi's hearing whispers on the Perfect Pink, my people are telling me that Glory Bound has worked up enormous this week at Riccarton to say that she is ready to run one heck of a race on Saturday. She will love 1,600 metres. She's drawn nicely. Craig Grills, he could have picked a number of different rides here. Yes, I know he's attached to the Valachi Down stable, but he has been very keen to stick with this horse in Glory Bound. And it's always been a case that they're happy to go Barneswood and give her that gap between races towards the 1,000 guineas. They've got into the field with a very good draw. I think her price will keep drifting. I don't think she is a horse that'll She might even get into that $30 zone because other horses will take money. Have her in your trifectas and first fours. She is an enormous player in this race on Saturday.
Oh, gee, I like that sort of chat, Pops. Thank you. Glory bound to be going in. My combinations. Before we move on, I'll get your guys' numbers, Paul and PP. I just want to touch on Belaconte, Steve. Is the wet track a concern or because her form's been tremendous as well?
I think there's no dramas on a dead surface. If it gets to a good 3 at the back end of the program, that might be a question mark. The weather's a bit up in the air at this stage and what the track condition's going to be, but no knock if it's a genuine dead around Belaconte. I think early in the prep, the heavy tracks were unsuited for her.
Okay.
Look, she's just got as good a form on paper as any filly heading to the race.
She was good at Trentham back to 1200 and
rated through the roof that day. I know down the chute, 1200 metres. Unusual prep, went from 14 to 12 back to the mile or up to the mile. But I'm going to trust the stable around Belaconte. She's on top for me, Belaconte. A 4-foot weight for age against the older horses, 2 stakes victories, including the filly stakes, and the Gold Trail, where she bet many rivals, including Imperatriz at Hawke's Bay. Look, the family pedigree on the dam side, it's quite speedy. So 16 is a slight question mark, but she gets a gun run from that draw. She's the one on top for me, Belaconte.
Yeah, okay. We'll go to you, Paul, with your top 4 in this year's 1,000 Guineas.
I've got the Perfect Pink on top. Belaconte in for second. Mustang Valley. I did like that 5th in the soliloquy. And We Danced.
Okay, don't mind it. No room for There You Go or Imperatriz. I don't mind it. You're going a little bit wide this year's 1,000. BP, hit us with yours.
I'll go with There You Go from a positive ride from Cosiazano from outside to be able to put the horse in the race. She is the one for me in the race. There You Go. And she might, again, I think she could be a horse who could start pushing out just with the squeeze coming on Perfect Pink and those other horses in the race. The Glory Bound running number 16 to run a big race at a big price. A 3-year-old filly that has a lot of scope. Watch out for her beyond this race. Number 16, Glory Bound, my second pick in the race. The 7, Perfect Pink. And look, a number of other horses you could throw into the mix. Imperatriz and Belaconte. One of those 2 for 4th.
Yeah, okay. That's an intriguing penny race, actually. The more I listen to the boys, the sort of wider I'm thinking now. There are many chances, aren't there?
Yeah, and look, There You Go by Niagara, 16, no dramas. Watch it through the line, not just in its maiden victory, but also when it won the Barneswood, it was doing its best work through the line. Quickly, just Shepherd's Delight and Irish Red, 2 stable mates coming to the Tiakau barn. Interesting form line, both winning maidens on the same day. Shepherd's Delight has to find 3 lengths from that performance to be competitive here. Irish Red 7 lengths. So you're getting a price on those 2, even though they're coming out of a very big stable.
Okay. I'm very wary of the Perfect Pink of what I'm seeing here in the betting. And when you've got a Tiakau favourite and they've been hoeing into the 3rd favourite, and Opie Boston's aboard it, and we've heard all the reasons why Opie is to be respected and is very dangerous. Watch out for the Perfect Pink. I think they might have set it up perfectly. Gentlemen, race number 10, the New Zealand Cup. And over the 3,200 metres, of course, the Martin Collins 158th New Zealand Cup, a Group 3 event, Steve. And as always, it's a cracking betting race, many chances.
Yeah, busy betting race, first 24 hours of trading, Thad. Bodes well, $4 fave, well played. Lincoln King, also well played, $6. So punters early doors gravitating towards the 1 and 2 in betting. Mr. Intelligence, the Metropolitan winner at $6.50. Hit the Road Jack, new horse on the scene for the Carnival, $8, off a shortener of 7.5. Southern Ocean, beaten fave last Saturday at 9. Kafif, interesting run on a quick backup from Wednesday, 14 to 12. D&G, $14. She has the same price as Monderani. And Madame de Soir doing its best work late last Saturday at 15. Best of the rest, Moira's Town at 21. So early lead. There's 3 horses here. Bodes well, Lincoln King, and also Kafif.
Yeah, that interesting money around Kafif. Kevin Myers wearing the Fortuna colours, not winning during the week, but running a good race on the Wednesday. BP, obviously that Metrop form does look to be the form, and look, Lincoln King and Bodes well finished in behind Mr. Intelligence, but they're both well backed here.
Yeah, look, once again, I think the New Zealand Cup does throw up these type of fields, and it's another terrific betting race, isn't it, this year? I think Bodes well from the reports I'm hearing that he's bang on the mark to run a huge race on Saturday. Is Bodes well, and he's a deserved favourite in my mind. Look, I thought Lincoln King, you might have been wanting to see just a touch more in that run in Metropolitan to be putting it on top. Now, this is a horse who's desperately close to winning the New Zealand Cup last year when running into second position. Maybe the same can be said about D&G also, that you just might have been just looking for just a little bit more from them, or they've got something more to give, and there's a little bit more left in the tank for them to run that big race over 3,200 metres. Of course, D&G, a winner of this race back, when was it, 2019. I do like Kafif, runner number 18. Look, I won't lie, I took some $26 on this horse a few weeks ago, and I've just loved what I've seen since he's won that race at Awapuni, and just went to the line with handfuls, did Ryan Elliott on Wednesday. I thought that was an ideal lead up towards Saturday's race. I do believe he'll lead up the distance. He is a very sneaky chance. Now, of course, as we're doing this, no rider declared yet. Is that what we're seeing, fellas?
I think that's right at this stage. Must have one in mind, but
yeah. But anyway,
no rider.
No rider yet. Okay, so I just thought he was a great chance at the each way. Hit the Road Jack's an interesting horse, because you know that he at some stage could come around and inject something into the race at the Road Jack, even though he has raced, pretty much all winter, has hit the Road Jack, but he's just kept on getting better, hasn't he? I mean, this race is set up for those type of horses that continue to run, almost every fortnight through the winter, and can produce a big run in this race. So I wouldn't say he's out of it. And what about Bluey's chance running a race? I mean, this horse. I
was just looking at Bluey at 40 to 1. Carry on.
Nearly did a Miss Bailey in the Wellington Cup. And we know that the horse can see out 3,200 metres. Got to the front, of course, recently over 3,000 miles in that run to the Jericho race, and maybe suggested that he was on track to run another race at odds. Number of different ways, but I'm having my each way ticket on Kafif.
Yeah, okay. Gee, plenty are, to be fair, and it's actually the worst result currently, Paul. What's the on-track word? What were you hearing? You were there on the Wednesday when Kafif went round. Can you add anything here? What's the whisper?
Yeah, there was a wee bit of a whisper for Kafif. I guess Kevin Myers has done this sort of thing when they hit the West Coast circuit, where they run on the, Friday or the Thursday, and then back up again on the weekend. And so he's doing it with Kafif, and there was a wee bit of whisper, but the big whisper was for the favourite Bodes Well. They are very, very confident, I hear, in the camp, and expect a big showing from the Son of Z. So, whispers for Bodes Well on track yesterday, and also a little whisper for Kafif. But looking further down the obviously D&G, we know that the distance won't be a problem. Just hasn't shown the sort of form that we saw from her. What was it? Probably over a year ago now. But if she can sort of return to anything like that, she'll be right in this. So I've certainly got D&G in there somewhere. But the big whisper was for the favourite, Bodes Well. And I guess the way that Bowden played in his 100th Test match, there's a lot of positive energy flowing that way.
Oh, yeah, here we go. Trying to link up the All Blacks with the New Zealand Cup. And you look, the Wheeler camp have been positive for a while, Steve, to be fair. I mean, I think there's some good bets in those futures markets around Bodes Well out there. Yeah, 21s in the line.
21's top fluck in futures betting. A terrible result in all-in betting, as is Lincoln King, who opened at $18. So there's some nice tickets on those two runners who, as I mentioned earlier, are the best back runners when it comes to the final field. Look, I've got no real strong opinion when it comes to New Zealand Cup. I think a lot of it depends on how the first half of the race is run. You go back 7 days ago, the Metropolitan race shape up to the 600-metre mark, the first 1,900, 14 lengths below par. Last 634.93, 1.5 lengths above par. So it suited those horses in the first half does. So you've got to add merit to the runs of Madame de Soir, Monderani, and also Lincoln King, because they're back worse in midfield and doing their best work through the line. So, look, Hit the Road Jack is an intriguing runner, just a different form line.
Exactly.
Gee, I would have been keener on this runner if you could tell me or guarantee me some more aqua around. I think it needs that dead 607 at worst, or at best, should I say. But all its best figures, just when there's a little bit of fire out of the track around the Hit the Road Jack. But astute stable. Its numbers in the north almost parallel to anything at best in this field on Saturday, in particular going into the lead-up race, the Metropolitan. So just a little bit of a query if that track hits that good line.
Yeah, okay. BP, are we underrating Mr. Intelligence here? The wind was good. I know it was a little bit out of the blue to some degree.
It was, wasn't it? And potentially, yeah, he's a tricky one to try and line up again, isn't it? Do you go again? If you're on at the 16s, well, of course you do. The thing is, you're not getting $16 on Saturday. You're getting more around that $6.50, sort of around that $7-8 chance maybe for Mr. Intelligence. But so often we talk about the Metropolitan form. It is the most obvious form going into the race because it was a week ago. You can pull that race apart, and it has been the guide towards the Cup, a number of times. So I think he has to be in there somewhere for a trifecta and first four play. But so does so many other horses, though, isn't there? I mean, this is the issue of trying to break it down to 4 runners. There are really a host of chances that can run a big race. And if they get that little birdie on the shoulder, they get the right run in the race. Look, there's about 7, 8, 9 horses that can run the race of their life here and finish in the top 4.
Yeah, 100%. Paul, where did you settle in this year's New Zealand Cup? Give us a top 4, please.
I've got Bodeswell on top, Kafif, D&G, and Lincoln King, who, of course, all but won it last year.
Yeah, Lincoln King, as you say, was getting home relatively strongly. Bodeswell and Kafif, BP. Paul hasn't done us many favours. Who have you got in your top 4?
Well, I've got the same 2. I've just got them around in a slightly different order. I've gone Kafif on top to beat home Bodeswell, so 18 to beat 5. I'll give Lincoln King another chance purely on what I saw 12 months ago in this race with him going so close when running second. And then I'll chuck him Bluey's chance. I'll throw him in there. He's a horse that'll roll to the front. He will give you one heck of a sight. And he won't be at 130 to 1, but he might be at 40 to 1, and he'll really help your trifectas and first fours along. Like you said, I think Hit the Road Jack and D&G and those sort of horses, Mr. Intelligence, they're great horses to play into your trifecta and first four. I know it's expanding. You've just got to try and cut that top end of the trifecta down, but you are going to need them.
We'll have $30,000 guaranteed first fours on every race at Riccarton this Saturday as well. And if the race before has a wee bit of a jackpot,
bump up, won't it, Paul?
there'll be a nice
bump up as we go, won't it?
What's that?
Yeah. We'll only take a few sort of jackpots to bump that up as well. We could get some big numbers there.
Very easily, yeah. We had didn't we have one yesterday got out to 150?
Yep, from the Copelands, sorry. Got to 150. BP probably had a shekel or gold coin into that market, I would have thought, Pops.
Missed the second horse. I mean, what was it, 80 to 1? Yes. It just kept hanging on. Had it for third. We had Field behind, but just keep playing on. Yeah, anyway.
I thought Stygan Rose was going to or not maybe pick the winner up, but it looked like she was always going to run in the money and somehow finish 4th. I couldn't work that out. And anyway, the boys can obviously see the trading interface here. Kafif and bodes well for them, so we might be in a bit of strife here. Yeah,
they're pointing out where all the red numbers are coming from in our risk manager. But look, even race, don't have a strong opinion. Maybe the best ride might win it.
Yeah, okay. No, that's going to be an intriguing betting race. I do like the New Zealand Cup over 3,200 metres, and it's brought together a nice field. Guys, we want to duck up to Tauranga. Race number 6 on the card is a open 1,400 metres, Steve. And yeah, look, a couple fighting out favouritism here. This is going to be an interesting little battle for favouritism, I'd say.
Yeah, it will be. Lecrier's Brando, they've already matched each other one time this preparation, with Brando coming out on top. But there's a bit of a weight swing in favour of Lecrier's, but we'll touch about that with the boys shortly. Lecrier's 290 in front of Brando. Brando holds two times more money in that second line at 330. Moroni at $6. He's the one for us, $8. Tight line finishes the single figure prices at $9. Pacific Master at $14. New York Jazz $15. Best of the rest. Stand Tall resumes for Ralph Manning at $26. So looks slight lead around Brando. Overall betting just stifled a touch. Again, there's the odd showers forecasted on race day at Tauranga. So we're just not sure what deck we're playing at. But Brando 2 times more money than Lee Creer's 290 v 330.
Yeah, it's interesting for me, Potts. Brando, I mean, he was good resuming at Te Rapa, then probably let his supporters down at Hastings, to be perfectly honest. And I'm just getting a little bit gun shy. Should I be?
Oh, I don't know. He is already becoming that frustrating horse. I know he's only having his 10th start, but I suppose when you get beaten as a short price favourite in a Levin Classic and all the other hiccups that we've had in between. What was it that day he got beaten by Tinker McPhee at Matamata? I know Tinker McPhee was huge with how the horse produced a sectional to win that race, but I mean he went round stones in that race also. So you can understand the frustration. Maybe just got in an awkward spot. I know he's been beaten 5.5 lengths in that race behind Tuolisa. He drew well, and he just got in a sticky spot, didn't he? I don't want to drop him. I still think he is a horse that can get to the right level. I just feel as though Le Crayere is the right horse to be on for this race with a good draw and the opportunity of maybe some cut in the ground, and with just how she loves racing here at this venue. Tauranga just happens to be one of those tracks that I love to play the horses for courses stat with, and she just sits in a good place. And I find her awfully hard to beat in this race, actually.
Yeah, the one last start was very good at Te Rapa. Paul, what are your initial thoughts here in the Open 14? Two pretty clear-cut favourites, but, does it mean we couldn't find something else down the page a little bit?
No, I'll have to disagree with you there. I can't find something
that.
down the bottom of the page. I'm very happy with the top of the page here. And Le Crayere, as you say, crikey. Just, I don't know what it is about Tauranga, but just absolutely loves the place. And that last start win was super impressive. So happy to stick with the one on top. And then with Brando filling in for second, I don't see this race panning out any other way. I've got an exacta 5-1.
A fixed exacta 5-1. Look, 62 Brando. Who's riding Brando, Steve? Do you know off the top of your head?
No jockey.
Okay.
There may be a 2 kg claim with the stable apprentice riding the horse, but no jockey allocated as yet around Brando. I think that's quite crucial in terms of what weight it does carry in this race, because as I mentioned, Le Crayere's last time they met earlier this preparation, Le Crayere's, as it stands right now, is 5.5 kegs better off and was beaten by Brando by 1.4 lengths at Te Rapa. So I think in terms of the weights be the margin, definitely in the favour of Le Crayere's. Look, she's an interesting runner. She's really gone through the roof in terms of this preparation. She headed into this preparation with a rating of 79. She's contested 2 open class races. As I mentioned, she came up against Brando in an open sprint, finished 4th. And then she put an open handicapper race away at Te Rapa last start also. And look, the race shape suited. They went out quite hard early doors. It really did suit for a horse just sitting in that 4th, 5th position, one out where she found herself. She can be a little bit tardy away. We've seen it definitely this preparation. But look, I think there's enough genuine tempo early doors are out in tight line. He's the one for us, stand tall. Interesting runner first up, whether they go forward and try and contest that 1-2 in the map. So look, I think the tempo will be even enough, which should be all right for Brando as well as Le Crayere's. But look, this is no surprise, Le Crayere's. She wasn't far off. I think it was Marcus Aurelius at Ellerslie last preparation, and we know what Marcus Aurelius has done just in the last few days. So, Brando comes out of the red badge sprint. It rated quite high that particular race overall, but was a beaten favourite. Has a strong SP, so naturally we'll keep that price down. But as you can say, he's been indifferent at the best of times.
Yeah, I see that. Look, to be fair, the money they're taking the 330 around Brando pops. Look, Maroney, he's the one for us, tight line. Look, Pacific Master, I see Maroney has one on the track, maybe a little bit unlucky last time. Is there any others we need to touch on before we move on?
I think Tight Line. I think Tight Line is the horse that will give them all something to chase. And if Paul Mawadi's looking at taking fixed exactas, I'd be looking at having a little fixed trifecta with Tight Line to run third, maybe, if the horse scoots to the front and these 2 other horses can finish over the top. So I believe he's the speed in the race, and he will really set things up. He's the one for us as a horse who's drawn out, has a kilo coming off, and he'll be the other horse that'll look to try and park up also and be a part of that sort of upfront pressure. So for that reason, I'm going Le Crayere on top to beat Brando, Tight Line, and he's the one for us.
Paul, where'd you settle? You're in the same boat here by the looks.
Pretty much Le Crayere, Brando, he's the one for us, and Tight Line.
Yeah, okay, Tight Line in your numbers as well. So we don't have a little box trifecta. Steve, any last thoughts here? You've gone Le Crayere. Are you happy with her as favourite? I'd say she's 5 from 10.
That weight swing. Joe Cameroon's the jockey. I should mention he
right.
looks the obvious in terms of the engagement around Brando. Get that down to 60 kegs, but still, I think that's enough of a swing in the favour of Lecriers to beat Brando on this occasion. But look, again, no strong opinion, but if I had to lean towards one, it would be her over him.
Okay, what about just quickly Moroni? Caught wide at Te Rapa last time. They might have been in the same race, but yeah, look, showed a bit of ability at times. Moroni, third favourite.
Yeah, look, he's an honest campaigner. I don't think he was too far off an Easter handicap from memory last season. Moroni is a horse that will just profile off the solid tempo from the 3 or 4 horses I've already mentioned. So from barrier 3, Matty Cameron should give him a gun run every opportunity, Moroni. But I think he's found at his market, round about 650. Yeah.
Okay, the boys will Lecriers, and you can see for good reason, weight swing, and certainly on the up and up. Okay, one more race to take a look at Tauranga, and it's race number 7 on the card, Steve. The Gaucho Tauranga Stakes, Group 2, over the mile, weight for age. And yeah, look, the favourite here. What do we do? What do we do with the favourite here?
We've posted $3.20. Look, he's been a well-backed commodity, but the punters are coming for the top 3 in the market, including Mai Tai, $4.50 into $4, and also Frontman, impressive winner on this track at open handicap conditions at $5. Vernon Me at $6. Hypnos $7.50. Just asked me the stablemate of the fave at $9. Vigor winner best of the rest at $13. So look, no clear lead, Thaddeus, but while the 1, the 9, and the 7 all had their friends in the first day or so of trading.
Yeah, okay. Tabby Mac pops. We know how good he is. I see Hazel Chauffeur back aboard, which is good to see. And I think she's got a fairly good record on Tabby Mac. But Frontman, very good last time. Defied the betting drift on a wet track. And Mai Tai as well, right down the bottom of the book there, was good last time at Mudda as well. So I don't think he's going to have it all his own way. But on, if he was racing at his best, Tabby Mac, he'd win this, wouldn't he?
Look, I think so. And I know we were pretty keen on him in that race last time out to the races, despite the weight that he was having to concede. He's got a touch further back than I would have thought in that race at Awapuni. And he was conceding, 7 kilos to the horse who's ended up winning that race. And this is a much better situation for him, isn't it, at weight for age. So I don't think you want to drop him on that, and I'm sure punters won't. 1,600 metres, first time at that distance for this horse at 1,600 metres. And am I back? Yep, sorry. So 1,600 metres for him is an interesting talking point around Tabby Mac. But Hazel Chauffeur, I mean, she really knows this horse so well through all that early progression of him coming through the grades. I do believe that a horse like Mai Tai is that next sort of wave of horse that will get to that top end grade fairly quickly. And I think we saw that last season with how this horse raced Mai Tai through the Auckland Carnival. Just lobbed in the right spot when winning at Mudda last time out, just parked just off speed, and she's got a really nice turn of foot when she's produced. So I like the look of her as she comes up, into that Christmas racing. And then Frontman, I thought Frontman was the new way to ride him. He came off speed, he relaxed, he really came underneath Matt Cameron nicely in that race, didn't he? And I know it was on a heavy surface. I'm not put off by the fact that the track's going to be better, but there might be some rain. So I'm Tabby Mac, but I'm very wary of Frontman and Mai Tai.
Yeah, 100%. Look, Paul, I think if this race was a month ago or 6 weeks ago, we'd be getting knocked off our chair. It's with 320 around Tabby Mac. But look, there has been good money for Mai Tai and Frontman. So, yeah, what do we make of it, I guess?
I guess they're just looking at the sort of the Tabby Mac form line where he just hasn't put it together consistently. I do like the fact that Hazel Chauffeur's back. I think she has a very, very good affinity with the horse, and I think that can only aid him in his strive for victory in the Gaucho. So I'm very happy to have Tabby Mac on top, even though he's been harder to catch this prep than we've seen before. So, yeah, I'm not too worried about that. I really think it is a huge plus that Chauffeur's back on board. So I'm keen to take that 320, as you say, a little while ago. They'd be jumping out of trees to grab that 320. So
yeah, 100% they would. Look, Tabby Mac, Steve. Look, there's a few chances I thought here. I mean, we mentioned Mai Tai and Frontman. I wouldn't be surprised if a Vernon Me bobbed up, and or a Hypnos. And look, if the rain did arrive, obviously just ask me would come into calculations, but particularly Hypnos or Vernon Me, I don't think they can be discounted.
No, look, Vernon Me's got a terrible record of weight for age. But look, he's maybe a horse a little bit stronger this time in. He won impressively second up at Matamata. Tauranga, maybe the heavy 10, just not the suit. Hypnos, he had improvement. He was a little bit friendless second up, so just keep an eye on his price. Third up, Hypnos, he was very good first up. And just ask me, he's the intriguing runner in terms of the weather. If the rain does fall on race day and it gets in that slow range, his price might look a little bit overs in terms of where it's trading at present at $9. But look, Tavi Mac on face value, yes, disappointing last start. Ran well below betting expectations. He over-raced early doors and down the straight failed to pass one runner. So again, on face value, very disappointing. And that is unusual. We've seen it now twice this preparation, and he's built a profile in his last 2 to 3 preparations on consistency and always turning up. So that is a slight concern because we've now seen 2 fails this time in on 4 runs. Look, he's beautifully set up at weight for age. That's a tick.
Weight for age.
Maybe a hard horse to place when it comes to handicaps, but at weight for age, perfectly placed. I know it's cliche, but if he ran up to the performance he put in 2 starts back at Ottawa Park, he ran 2.6 lengths above standard for the weight for age level at group status. So he would only have to run within 1 length here of that figure, and he'd be winning because there's just no horse here that has close to that figure that what he produced 2 starts back. So he's superior if he brings his A game. Look, I'm going to take a set against Mai Tai. I don't like the form. It was a horrible figure. It ran at Matamata, 7 lengths below par, slowest overall time on the 3 1,400-metre races on the day, and then that included a 65-grade race. There was less than 1 length separating 1 to 4th on that 1,400 open. Look, she's a good horse. Don't get me wrong.
Probably some potential to improve, or some progression there as well.
But just from what I'm seeing, she just needs to improve a touch up to weight for age standard. She was good enough to win a Manawa 2 Anzac Mile last preparation, and as you touched on, this time last year, heading towards Christmas, she was flying at HQ. So, and frontman, look, he's only had the 10 starts. It's in terms of inexperience. So he sits in that number 1 profile in this field. So his spiral's still climbing, still going upwards.
I agree.
I'm just not sure how high his ceiling is. He could be a genuine weight for age horse over Christmas, New Year time, but just hard to get a true line on that heavy track performance. But pretty keen to take a set on Mai Tai, and I'll just gravitate towards Tavi Mac.
Yeah, BP, it's Tavi Mac comes out and wins and pays $3 or $3.20, and we're going to be all kicking ourselves, or do we play the forgive card and take what looks on the eye a fairly generous price?
Weren't we doing that 2 starts ago when it won paid $3.90? With Tavi Mac. So I think he's the bet in the race, and look forward to seeing him back at his best. I think Frontman can get to a good grade. I think he is the horse that will get to weight for age Group 1 level in this country. I have no doubt about that. He is the goods, and he is a horse that will bounce off that performance last time out. I just love how he's been able to travel kindly just off pressure in that race. I think he can run a really big race. I thought he was the biggest danger to Tavi Mac and Mai Tai also. So I went 1 to beat 7, 9, and maybe a turnaround in form from Hypnos. That might be the other horse we might need to throw into the mixture, as we know. Very good at this distance is what we saw 12 months ago. So, 1, 7, and 9 for me. Yeah,
okay. Pops with Tavi Mac. Paul, you boys have been lining up a little bit today. You and BP, you haven't been comparing notes prior to coming on air, have you?
I don't make notes, so no chance of that.
Yeah, no, good point. Yeah, very good. Where are you going, mate? Where are you going? Numbers?
Tavi Mac on top, Frontman, Hypnos, and Just Ask Me.
Yeah, okay. Boys with Tavi Mac, they're playing the forgive card, $3.20. Will look a good price if he comes out and does what we know he can do. And this year's Group 2, Tauranga Stakes. What a team. We better start to think about winding it up. Let's our look at the last day of Cup Week, 1,000 Guineas Day, New Zealand Cup Day. Now, BP, I said after I promised you I wouldn't forget about Maiden of the Week at the top of the show. I've gone and forgotten about it. My fault. But can we have your Maiden of the Week, because they are awfully popular?
All right, well, we'll go to Te Araha on Tuesday. Of course, it was Trotting Cup Day, but we had 10 races out of Te Araha. And Carmen Line, I'm sure most would have seen it. And sort of almost had to check twice what was going on here and where this horse had come from. It was a staggering win over 1,400 metres. Ran quicker than the 65s. Has charged through the line and had probably the audacity to actually sit up on the line. I know Craig Grills was very keen to ride this horse. He has been on Hot Salsa a couple of times, and he was keen to ride Come in Line on Tuesday. Yes, for Wexford Stables that he rides a lot for, but just looks like a horse you want to be following, and probably through that Christmas period and maybe beyond Christmas also. So, yep, she was ultra good. She went around at a big price, and she won't be that price next time.
Did you know anything about it, Pops? Because Steve and I were having a little chat here when it crossed the line, because it flashed out of nowhere and paid a big price. And we thought, wonder, we know you have an association with the Wexford Stable, and you talked to Andrew Scott and Lance. And but did you know much about it, or did it catch you by surprise as well?
Oh, look, I knew a teeny bit about it, and I'd gone through her trials and what have you. But and the trials were very quiet. I will say that they were nice, quiet trials. But there wasn't that real big expectation and push from the stable to say that she was going to line up and do that. Well, and that's reflected in the price, isn't it? I mean, look, there hasn't been a lot of hard cash on the horse at $24, but there was certainly a little reputation there. But I don't think there was expectation she was going to come out and just boom home like that.
No, you're clearly not. Okay, fair enough. No, and it was one heck of a win Come in Line, so that will be one to follow.
Interesting pedigree.
Yeah, please, because I did check it, and now I've forgotten who it's by. My Boy Charlie, that's right.
Charlie in the
same
stable,
sire as
Charles Road.
Thank you. Yeah,
Comes out of the same stable, so that tells me that this horse is going to get over ground. Haven't really dissected in terms of the bloodlines on the dam side, but just purely on the sire. And the way it raced and the way it finished off over 7 furlongs suggests 2,000, no dramas going forward.
Yeah, okay. Very impressive indeed. Righto, team. We better get to bets of the day. Well, let's come to you, Paul, because we want to go to the best. We want to go to the man of the moment, Mr. Rose and Power. Bet of the weekend, so I'm pleased from you.
Yeah, I'm going to go the 1,000 guineas. And I'm sure we'll be hearing this combination jump up quite a bit as we lead up to the Christmas and New Year period. So I'm going with Opie Bosson, Jamie Richards, and the whisper I heard on track yesterday at Riccarton, the perfect pink to win the 1,000 guineas.
Yeah, okay, currently 5.5. Well done on Rose and Power, by the way. That one well back to back, didn't it, Steve? Rose and Power. But where have you gone? Where have you settled?
Yeah, I'll go to the last at Tauranga. Race 8 Chicana. I think it's a safe bet in terms of track conditions. So if there's the odd shower, a tick for this mare. Look, she's come back in fine fettle this time in. She's had 2 runs. She comes out of a strong maiden race at Taupo when finishing 4th. And then subsequent to that has been an impressive maiden win at Tauranga, 4.6 lengths above par for that standard race, suggesting she can at least knock out 65 grade, remain to the mile, can handle a yielding surface, rated around about a 32% chance, currently trading 2.9.
Yeah, okay. Chicana. That was your good friend David Price's colours, doesn't it, Paul?
Does indeed.
Yeah, pricey. Yeah, well done. Good win last time. Might have one on his hands there with Chicana. BP, we'll leave it to you to wind it up, mate. Bet of the weekend for you.
I'll go to Riccarton, and I'll go to race number 7, the open handicap over 1,400 metres in Swiss Watch. I'm sure punters love waiting for this horse to line up second up. Has the great second up record. And Opie Bosson is aboard. Is drawing an outside gate, but the likelihood that this horse can find the front over 1,400 metres. He loves the distance of 1,400. He loves winning second up. He'll be my bet for the weekend's Swiss Watch in the 7th at Riccarton.
Gee, you boys all lining up with Opie Bosson. You obviously listened to Steve talk about strike rates and the like, and Swiss Watch second up. Thinking, what do we know what price the Swiss Watch is?
Going to check out, see what the.
I think it's a fair bit of each.
The
way
lads
almost.
have opened him up at. Race 7, $6 Swiss Watch, and behind Marcus Aurelius and Summer Monsoon.
Okay, we might lose Marcus Aurelius out of that race potentially, but this is Thursday evening when we tape this. Pop, $6 Swiss Watch. You'll be pleased. We'll see you on our screens, no doubt, on Saturday at some stage.
I won't be on screen actually. I'll be in a position. Where are we now? Yeah, I'll actually be right where I am on Saturday. Yeah, so just with the COVID restrictions, with Aidan working in the studio, of course, can't get to Riccarton because we're in level 3, which means that Bevan gets the gig to get down there, and Aidan, of course, the man who covers the the Christchurch Canterbury region will be from the studio. So just under our restrictions at the moment, we can't be in the same building / studio. So I'll be working from home, and it's a good race meeting. And I thoroughly enjoyed it last week.
Yeah, exactly. I think I saw you. I saw a glimpse of you. The punting public probably didn't. Looked like you're having a good time there, running it out of your lounge. Paul, thanks for your efforts as always. You'll be due a day off, mate. You've had a tough week. Tough week.
Yeah, thanks, Thad. I'm glad it didn't go unnoticed. Just a shout out to all the guys in my NFL survivor pool who all got knocked out last weekend or last Monday. All I needed was the Steelers to win, and they did it with ease in the end. A field goal in the final 30 seconds to seal victory for me. So thanks for the cash, boys. Better luck next season.
Oh, very good. This isn't a pedestal or soapbox for you to do shout-outs to your survivor group, mate. This is serious business. What promotions are on the weekend? We've got the big mega blitz, or what's happening on Saturday? First four already beginning?
Saturday. As I mentioned before, a $30,000 guaranteed first four on every race at Riccarton. We've got a $50,000 guaranteed late quaddie at Riccarton. We've got a $30,000 late quaddie, a guaranteed late quaddie at Tauranga. We've got a bonus back promotion on the first four races from Riccarton and the first four races from Tauranga. So we've let the Aussies go for a while. I'm sure they'll be back at another time. But yeah, first four races at Riccarton and Tauranga will be bonus back races on Saturday.
Okay, so plenty to sink our teeth into, no doubt. Thank you, BP. Thank you, Paul, for your efforts. Thanks, Steve. Looking forward to Saturday as always. It's always a good.
Yeah, I love the 1,000
culmination
guineas
of the weekend.
2,000 guineas, 100% that. And but we might have had a superior boy last week against his rivals in 2,000 guineas. But I think the fillies, there's more depth overall without having a standout. So really looking forward to that race. Yeah, no, 100% me too. And the New Zealand Cup to boot. No, you'll be looking forward to it. I know you would have been having a great week. Greyhounds, harness, and thoroughbreds. We'll see you again in 7 days' time. Please join us on the Leg Up.